Good evening there, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day today. So, I certainly was not planning to commentate on this fight. I was not planning overall to talk about this fight because I did not think that there was going to be anything worth talking about when it came to this fight. And of course, the fight that I'm talking about is I believe, let's even see what this guy's name is, Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin was a very, very unknown opponent heading into this fight. And of course, Mikey Garcia was a huge favorite. I'm not necessarily sure what the odds were in this fight when it came down to it, but it had to at least have been 10 to 1, if not even more. I mean, I did not necessarily look at Martin. I did not see what skills he had possessed, and I really did not even watch highlights of him. But I did not think, all in all, that he was going to be this decent of a boxer. Now, in my opinion, was this one of those fights that, the fighter probably more than likely lost because he did not put his best foot forward? In my opinion, more than likely, yes. This is why it is very important to always take your opponents very, very seriously. And when it comes down to the overall, to always put your best foot forward. And I made a video just the other day saying about Mikey Garcia that I think that he is a great boxer, but only to a certain degree. Because I really need to see Mikey Garcia against some of these other A-grade fighters because, really, to be quite honest with you, how many A-grade fighters can we claim that Mikey Garcia has really fought in his career? I mean, really almost none, with the exception of Errol Spence Jr., and we all see what Errol Spence Jr. was able to do to him. So we can't necessarily count that. But this dude, Sandor Martin, he was able to really confuse Mikey with a very decent jab and also with a very good left hand. He was able to move around and he was very defensively responsible. He was a very decently slick fighter. And usually Spaniard fighters, and when I say Spaniard, I'm talking about actually from Spain. I don't usually know of any great Spaniard fighters. I can't think of any off the top of my head. There's no elite MMA fighters or boxers that I can recall that I have heard of anyways, at least that are from Spain. So I think all in all that was a part of the reason why he was heavily underestimated. But not only that, but this dude had already suffered multiple losses in his career. And on top of that, no one knew who the hell this dude was. And Mikey Garcia, I mean, technically, he pretty much got thoroughly outboxed by this guy. Now, in my opinion, I think that Mikey Garcia, I think that he can personally put on a much better performance in the future because I've seen Mikey Garcia against fighters that I thought were very decently talented, and he pretty much completely outboxed them. Mikey Garcia, in my opinion, he did not look the best in this fight. I'm not going to say that he looked sluggish, but I think all in all that I think that he was staying in shape for this fight. But when it came to actually preparing for the type of opponent that Sandor Martin was, I don't think that he necessarily knew that this guy possessed that type of skill set. Because Mikey Garcia in some of these rounds was getting so outboxed that it really was almost embarrassing. This probably is the worst performance of Mikey Garcia's career. That may even include the Errol Spence fight because I thought Mikey Garcia even landed some decent punches over Errol Spence Jr. I don't remember one punch that Mikey Garcia landed in this fight that I can really say, wow, that really hurt Sandor Martin or that really overall landed flush. That might give Mikey Garcia the round. I really don't remember any flush punches that Mikey Garcia was able to land. And I'm very, very surprised that Mikey Garcia did not get the decision because, of course, we all know in boxing that certain fighters, especially who are the favorite, especially against no-name fighters, they're usually going to get the decision. But that did not happen here. So let me give a lot of the credit to the judges in this fight. One did score to draw, so I have to take away a little bit of credit from that judge. But the other two judges that scored at 97 and 93, let me give them a lot of credit. Now, I have to rewatch this fight to see all in all what I scored it personally, but we'll see overall what happens. Anyways, to give the other dude the decision, I believe, especially in Mikey Garcia's hometown, that takes a lot of guts on the judges' decisions. And we all know that a lot of these judges, they're about as dirty as a pig pen. So when it comes down to the overall, I have to give a lot of the judges, or excuse me, I have to give a lot of credit to the judges. And if you're asking me personally, in terms of all-time upsets, where do I think that this ranks? This is probably, at least in terms of the time that I've been watching boxing, and I've been watching boxing now for about 11, 12 years. This might be the biggest upset that I've personally ever seen in terms of my time of watching boxing. Now, of course, if you were around during the 80s and you watched that 1990 fight between Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, you know that that was a very, very big upset. There's a few other upsets that maybe I'm forgetting about as well. Of course, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman, but not even that was even close to the same level as this. Mikey Garcia, I think, heavily underestimated his opponent, and I think all in all that he did not really know how slick this dude was. And Mikey Garcia, is very, very unfortunate because, like I said, I mentioned in the video the other day that Mikey Garcia, in my opinion, I think that he's a very, very talented fighter, but he probably is one of the biggest underachievers that I've ever seen in sports history. In fact, talking about athletes within the 2010s, if I'm thinking about an athlete overall that probably is the biggest underachiever for their personal sport, I may have to vote Mikey Garcia. There's other athletes that I think did not achieve as much as they could have. Maybe say like an Aaron Rodgers, because you can argue that he probably should have won more Super Bowls in his career. Or maybe like a Peyton Manning, even a LeBron James to a degree, because, I think all in all that for his talent that he should have more than just 4 NBA championships, especially with a lot of the talent that he has had around him. But Mikey Garcia is one of those dudes to where you take a look at it and it's like, yeah, you're a 4-weight division champion and you are a very greatly skilled fighter. But when you really dissect that resume, who do you have on that resume that really is an A-class fighter, at least in terms of wins? Now, I heard a certain amount of people, once again, they're really digging into Mikey Garcia and they're saying that's why Mikey Garcia ducked Lomachenko and all these other guys. In my opinion, did Mikey Garcia duck Lomachenko? Absolutely, yes. I think all in all that he wanted no part of him. But to me, just because of this performance, that doesn't mean that Mikey Garcia would not give some of those fighters hell. I think that if Mikey took a fight very, very seriously, I think all in all that he would give any of those fighters hell. Whether it be Vasyl Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Tank Davis, Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor, he has the potential, in my opinion, to give any of those fighters hell. But unfortunately for Mikey Garcia, he did not really put his best foot forward in this fight. And on top of that, when it came down to it, I thought that he heavily underestimated his opponent and did not realize who the hell he was stepping into the ring with. So it is what it is. So it is what it is. Mikey Garcia is going to have to majorly improve. I think all in all that Mikey Garcia, I saw him start a little bit slow in the beginning, but that's pretty regular for Mikey Garcia when it comes down to it. I think this guy's movement, his jab when it came down to it, and on top of that, also his left hand and his defensive responsibility, I think that it threw Mikey Garcia off. I've never seen Mikey Garcia so risk-averse in a fight. And that isn't me saying that Mikey Garcia is one of these fighters, one of these usual Mexican fighters that will try to go in there and, mix things up all the time or, take a hit to, get a hit in. I don't think Mikey is one of those fighters. But Mikey is usually so much more precise in my opinion and all in all usually sees more offensive opportunities. And his jab, in my opinion, was not the same in this fight. All in all, I don't think that a lot of things were the same in this fight. Hopefully Mikey Garcia, at least for his sake, if he still is interested in boxing, hopefully he takes the rematch and hopefully he is able to outbox this dude because I think he has the capability. But all in all, he's going to have a hell of a performance because this dude, all in all, he just got a very, very big mental win over Mikey Garcia. A very, very big win in general. So I have to congratulate this dude, Sandor Martin. I gave this dude almost no chance. Actually, I did give him no chance. I gave him no chance to win this fight. I almost gave him a negative chance. That's the amount of a chance that I gave Sandor Martin to win this fight. But that's why you have to take your opponent seriously. It is what it is. Anyways, we'll see what happens for Mr. Mikey Garcia. Congratulations to Sandor Martin for pulling off a mega upset because that's exactly what this was. Once again, this is the biggest upset of probably the past 15 years. And I don't even think it's close. But it is what it is. Anyways, that's really about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see what happens with Mr. Mikey Garcia. But all in all, he's going to have to train very, very hard. He's going to have to take this opponent very, very seriously, which I think that he will. And he's going to have to make a lot of adjustments. I think that his jab, all in all, is going to have to be better. His head movement is going to have to be better. He's going to have to put the left hook a little bit more in there. And he's going to have to take more chances with this dude. But let me give Sandor Martin a hell of a lot of credit. Very defensively responsible. Excellent head movement when it came down to it. Was not expecting that at all. Excellent foot speed. Excellent hand speed when it came down to it. So this dude, all in all, he is a gifted boxer. He's not just some nobody that got lucky because Mikey Garcia didn't take him seriously. But in my opinion, do I still see some faults there? Yes. I think all in all, sometimes he still keeps his hands down a little bit too much. I think all in all that he doesn't throw enough in certain rounds. I think Mikey Garcia can take advantage of that. So we'll see what happens. But you never know, because now Sandor Martin, he's going to have more confidence against the Mikey Garcia in a rematch. So you never know what the hell is going to happen. But let me give Sandor Martinez credit. Hell of a performance, hell of a fighter. So I'll give him credit right there. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know overall what you thought on the fight, and we'll see what happens.